Hello and welcome to an Envato Tuts Plus course. I'm Adi Purdila, and today you'll learn how to build a WordPress portfolio site in under 1 hour. For this, we'll be using the Adios WordPress theme that's available on Envato Elements. It's a great theme, it definitely has a unique design and lots of features that will allow us to quickly and effortlessly build our portfolio. In this course, we'll be downloading and installing the Adios theme along with any necessary plugins, and then proceed to customize it to our liking. So without further ado, let's begin. Before installing the Adios theme, you need a working installation of WordPress. Now, I recommend that you develop your website first locally, and then once everything is done, deploy it to a live server. So in this lesson, you're going to learn how to install WordPress locally. For that, we need a piece of software that will install PHP, because WordPress is based on PHP. And we also need a MySQL database that WordPress needs to connect to. Now, we have such a software, and it's in fact free, available for both macOS and Windows, and it's called MAMP. There is also a MAMP Pro version, which offers some additional features, but for just starting out, setting up a really basic WordPress environment locally, the free version is everything you need. So go ahead and download it for your operating system. And once the app is downloaded, you're going to open it. And it currently looks something like this. Now, this is currently not started. Once you install it, you might need to open the settings and configure some of the settings that you see here. For example, when starting MAMP, you can choose to start service automatically. You can configure the various ports MAMP uses. I left mine at default because I didn't see a problem with that. And then you can choose the version of PHP that you can use. Again, I left mine at default. I chose the web server as Apache, and I changed my document root to local WP. Of course, this is entirely optional. By the default installation for you might look something like your username, MAMP, and then htdocs. That's where you have to copy all of the WordPress files in order for this to work. So I changed mine to local WordPress, and I'm gonna keep it that way. Now, once you configure everything, you just hit Start Servers, and this will start the Apache and MySQL server, and you're all set now. The next step is to install WordPress. So for that, we need to go to wordpress.org, not .com, be careful, .org. Then we hit Download WordPress. And the latest version at the time of this recording is WordPress 4.9.1. So we're gonna download that. I'm gonna save mine in this course folder. You can save yours wherever you want. And that downloaded WordPress. Now we just need to install it. Now, to install WordPress, there are two steps you need to follow. One, you need to create a database that WordPress will connect to and will store all of the website information into. And two, you need to copy the WordPress files that we just downloaded into a specific folder on your hard drive in order for us to be able to work with it locally. So the first thing we'll do is create the database. That's very simple. From the MAMP application, you hit Open Web Start Page, and then you go to Tools, PHP My Admin, and then on the left side here, you're going to see the available databases. And I already have a database called WordPress because I have another installation of WordPress on my computer. but in your case, you would need to create a new database. So go to Databases tab and choose a database name. In my case, I'm gonna simply say Tuts Plus, but you can name this whatever you want, and then you would hit Create. So right now we have a brand new database called Tuts Plus. Now, we need to copy the WordPress installation files into our working folder. Going back to my folder here, I'm gonna double-click this and extract the archive, and then copy everything inside the WordPress directory. And then I'm gonna navigate to my local WP folder. It's the same folder that I showed you right here in the preferences. And actually, I can just hit this button and it takes me there directly. Now I have another WordPress installation, just like I said, it's called WP491, but we're going to create a new folder. We're going to call Tuts Plus. And inside Tuts Plus, I'm simply going to copy and paste those files. In order to access those files, I'm simply going to open localhost 8888 Tuts Plus, which is the new folder that I just created. So this will prompt the WordPress installation screen. Choose your language, hit continue. Then WordPress tells us that there are a couple of details that we need to know before installation. So we'll hit Let's Go. The database name that we created is called Tuts Plus. If you remember, let me show you that again. Right? So this right here is the database that we'll be connecting to. The username will be root. Password will also be root. Database host, just leave it at localhost. And you have the option to add a table prefix. In my case, I'm going to say WP Tuts Plus underscore. This is optional. You can just leave the WP underscore that's there by default. Hit submit and then run the installation. It's going to ask us for a site title. I'm going to say Tuts Plus WordPress. Username, I'm going to say admin or Adi or whatever you want to put in there. Password, because we're working locally, we don't need like a really complicated password. So I'm just going to say 1234. If you're worried about security, maybe you're sharing your computer or other people have access to your computer, then go ahead and use a different password. I'm going to hit this check mark, and then I'm going to hit discourage search engines from indexing this site, because there is no point in doing that since we're working locally. Then I'm going to hit install WordPress, and that's it. WordPress has been installed. Now we just have to log in. I entered my credentials there, and we're in. This is the WordPress backend. This is where we're going to control the entire WordPress installation. And if we hit this link right here that says visit site, yeah, this is our actual front end. This is what the visitors will see. Now that our WordPress environment is all set up, it's time to install the Adios theme. And we're going to be doing that in the next lesson. See you there. Let's start our portfolio site by first downloading and installing the Adios theme. Now, the theme is available on Envato Elements. So once you log in and you search for Adios, you're going to find this page. And from here, you simply click on download and you choose whether or not you use it for a project or trial. It doesn't really matter. If you're using for a real project, then go ahead and type that project name, because you're going to get a dedicated license for that specific project. So once you download it, you're going to have an archive, something like this, and I'm going to extract it. And let's have a look at what's inside. So first you have some demo content. We're going to have a look at this a bit later. Then you have the documentation in the form of an HTML file, really handy if you don't know how to get started. Then you have some licensing information, plugins, and then this is what we're mostly interested in. This is the actual theme that you see right here. So to install it, really simple. We're gonna head back to our WordPress dashboard right here. We're gonna go to Appearance, Themes. We're gonna hit Add New, and we're gonna click Upload Theme. Now you can either choose the file from your hard drive, or you can simply drag and drop. And once that's loaded, you hit Install Now. And as you can see, the theme has been installed successfully. Now, a couple of options. We can either use a live preview or we can activate it. So let's go ahead and activate it because that's the theme that we want to use. And right now we can see that the Adios theme is active, but there are a couple of extra plugins that the theme requires and some additional ones that the theme recommends. So let's go ahead and install those plugins. We're going to hit this link, and then you can see all the plugins that we need to install. Simply select all of them, select install, and then apply. This is going to take a little bit because there are 7 plugins the theme needs to install. All right, all the plugins have now been installed. So we're going to go back here, and we can see the plugins are installed, in fact, but we also need to activate them. So we're going to select all of them again and hit Activate. Apply. And this will activate all 7 plugins. Now, after activating those plugins, you're going to see a couple more options here in the main sidebar. So this is before, and if I do a refresh, you're going to see the extra options. We have pages for social sites, team, portfolio, contact, testimonials. These weren't here before, they were added by the theme. We also have access to WooCommerce, although we're not going to be using it in this tutorial. And we also have access to the WP Bakery Page Builder. This is the former Visual Composer. If you're familiar with it, it's basically a visual interface that allows us to build WordPress pages much faster and much easier. So we've successfully installed the Adios theme and all its plugins. Now, if we're gonna do a refresh on our homepage here, you're gonna see it changing from the default WordPress theme to Adios. Now, currently it displays the blog page, but we don't want that. We want to customize it, right? And we also want to add our own content. Now, for customizing and adding our own content, we have 2 options basically. 1, start from scratch, or 2, load the demo content. And the demo content is the stuff that you see on the official theme demo right here. So because I saw a lot of pages and a lot of elements that are suited or are suitable for what I need from this portfolio, I'm going to load the demo content because that is much faster than creating our content from scratch. And then we're going to take that demo content and adjust it, customize it, and change it to our liking. So in the next lesson, we're going to learn how to load that demo content. See you there. With the theme installed, it's now time to add our own content. Now, to do that, we have 2 options. 1, build all our content from scratch, or 2, use the demo content that's provided by the author and customize that one. The second option is much faster, so that's exactly what we're going to do. Now, the demo content, just in case you missed it in the previous lesson, is the exact content that you see on the official theme demo. And here you actually can see all of the pages, right? All of the homepage styles, all of the blog styles, all of the portfolio styles. You can have a look at them, see which one would fit the best, and then use that one. Now, to load the demo content, we're going to go back to our dashboard. We're going to go to Appearance, Theme Options. The theme provides a very handy theme options panel that will control a lot of the settings for the theme. We're going to go to Demo Importer, and we're going to hit Import Demo. And as you can see, importing a demo will create pages, posts, add images, theme options, widgets, and others. So basically, by doing this, you get an exact copy of the official demo that you saw right here. So we're going to import demo, hit OK. This might take a while. Well, I think that took about 2 minutes in my case, and the demo content has been imported. Now, if we're going to take a look at posts, for example, we're going to see a bunch of posts that were not here before. By default, WordPress just comes with this Hello World post. Pages, we're going to see a ton of pages already made. All we have to do is rename the page and add our own content. We have a bunch of images that were added to the media library, and you'll definitely recognize the images that are being used here on the official demo. So the demo content has been properly loaded. Now it's time to customize it to fit the portfolio site that we want to create. We're going to start this whole customization process in the next lesson by creating the navigation. See you there. Our portfolio will have a pretty simple page structure. Apart from the home page, we'll have, of course, the portfolio page. We'll also have a blog page and a contact page. Now, of course, feel free to customize these in any way you want and in any way that you see fit for your own project. But for this particular demo, that's quite enough. So, how do we create a navigation? Well, let's have a look at our home page right after we imported the demo content. If we do a refresh, you'll see that we already have kind of a working page, right? The home page was set to this bit. We have pretty much everything you saw in the official demo homepage. But what about the navigation? Well, the navigation is actually here. You can't see the whole navigation because we have this admin top bar over it, but that's not a problem. We can still click it right here. And the navigation should actually look like this. We hit that button and we have all of the menu items right here. But in our case, it doesn't show anything. That's because we haven't defined a menu. Now, let's go ahead and do that. First, we'll go to Pages and we'll determine what pages we'll be using for our navigation. The home will be our home page. This is already set to the front page. This was already done when we imported the demo content, so no change needed here. We need a portfolio. Now, for the portfolio, we actually have two options: 1, 3, or 4 columns, or a masonry. And we can actually go to the official demo and we can check out those options. So this is portfolio 1, this is portfolio 2, this is with 3 columns, and then portfolio 3 is with 4 columns, and portfolio 4 is with a masonry layout. And I quite like this layout. I think that's what I'm going to be using. So we'll go back here to portfolio masonry, we'll hit edit, and I'm going to change its name to my work. Again, feel free to edit this in any way you see fit. I'm also going to edit the page name here in the address bar to my work. As you can see, that uses the portfolio template. We have a couple of options here, but we're not going to tamper with these just yet. And then move on to the next page, which is the blog. For the blog, we have actually 3 options: blog list, blog masonry, and blog list with sidebar. Since we used the masonry template for the portfolio, I think we're going to be using the same one for our blog. So we're going to go back here to all pages, and under blog masonry, I'm going to hit edit. I'm just going to rename this to blog, and blog here as well. Make sure the template is blog masonry, and I'm going to hit update. Finally, we need a contact page. For contact, we have a single template, which looks something like this. We have a contact form and an address, which is, of course, totally optional. So we're going to go back to all pages, and where it says contact, I'm actually going to rename this page to get in touch. I'm also going to edit the permalink here, get in touch. And the template is actually the default template. And this is what I was telling you about the page builder from WP Bakery, the former visual composer, right? This is how the content looks like inside this page. So this is like a simplified representation of what we actually see on our contact page right here. So this right here is the contact form, which is generated by a plugin called Contact Form 7, right? This is the text before it, and this is the title, right? Where it says get in touch. It's this title right here, right? And we can use this visual composer to edit or add elements. It's really, really simple. So I'm going to hit an update, and then we'll go to Appearance, Menus, and WordPress created a main menu for us. We can save this one or create a new one. It doesn't really matter. And we can go ahead and add menu items from the left. This is a list of all available pages. So we're going to start with this home. Then we're going to use blog, or blog. Then my work, which is the portfolio, and then the contact, which is get in touch. So I'm going to hit add to menu. Now, once we're here, I can start moving these around. I can create sub pages if that's what I want, or I can create parent level pages. So we have home, my work, which is the portfolio, blog, and then contact. And you have options for each of these pages. You can change the navigation label, title attribute. You can hide the navigation label if that's what you want, but I'm going to keep them, just misclicked there. I'm going to keep them just like this. So I'm going to hit Save Menu. And then if we go to Manage Locations, we can see that the theme has a single menu location, which is called Main Menu. And we're assigning it the menu that we created just now. Great. So now we'll do a refresh. And if we open the navigation, we're going to see our brand new menu. This takes us to the home page. This takes us to the portfolio page. which uses that masonry layout. This will take us to the blog page, which again uses a masonry layout. And finally, this leads to the contact page. And currently, the contact form is not being displayed. Probably just a small glitch here, but we'll be creating our own contact form and we'll add it afterwards. Right, so our navigation works. All of our pages are set. Now we'll take each individual page and customize it to our liking. We'll begin in the next lesson with the home page. See you there. In this lesson, we'll be editing the homepage structure. Now, thankfully, the Adios theme that we're using here includes the WP Bakery Page Builder, which is a plugin that allows us to visually edit a WordPress page very quickly and very easily. It's formerly known as Visual Composer. I'm sure a lot of you know about it. So if we take a look at our current homepage, let's see what we're going to keep actually. So we're going to keep the slider. We're going to keep this section, although we're going to be editing the contents. Let's see, the services. I don't really need the services here for a portfolio, right? So we're going to go back to our dashboard and we're going to go to Pages. We'll open our home page, and then inside we're going to see all of the elements that have been added to that page using the page builder. So we're going to scroll down. This is the second section right below our slider. Yeah, so this row right here with the services and the block quotes, I don't really need this, so I'm just going to delete it. I'm going to hit this X and then OK. And let's see what else. These content boxes, I don't need them either. So I'm going to delete that entire row as well. And I'm going to hit Update. And then when I do a simple refresh, you're going to see that that section has disappeared entirely. Now, this is the case study. We're going to be using this for our actual portfolio, so we'll keep that. Let's go back here. Then the team. This is a portfolio for an individual, so I don't really need a team section. And then stories. This is for blog entries. I'm going to keep them. Pricing table. No, I don't need these, so I'm going to delete them. The pricing table, yeah, delete these as well. And then what else is after, let's see, those pricing tables? We have these clients, and then we have this section with the statistics, which I don't need, and I also do not want this right here. So we're aiming for a very simple home page. We're going to delete this row, and then this row with the testimonials, and then this one with the counter box, and also this one. Okay, so all we're left with in our home page is the hero slider, and then we have that section here which can be used as an about section, and then we have blog entries, or actually portfolio entries, excuse me, then blog entries, and that's about it. We'll have the footer at the very end. So we'll hit Update, and then we'll do a refresh, and you'll see that we're only left with the stuff that we need. Currently, the portfolio and blog section does not work. We need to tweak things a little bit there. And then we have the footer. So that's the final structure of our home page. The next step is to now change the content on this home page and on the rest of the pages with our own. And we'll start in the next lesson with the content for the homepage slider. See you there. The homepage slider is the very first thing we'll customize, and because this is a portfolio, we'll be using this area to show our most important projects. Now, for this particular demo, I assumed that the person building the portfolio is interested in photography. He occasionally does backgrounds, and he also dabbles with mobile design. So the portfolio will revolve around these three main categories. I went ahead and grabbed some assets from Envato Elements just to use as demo images, basically, and I uploaded those images in the media library right here. If you don't know how to do that, well, you go to Media, Library, and Add New, and then you can upload whatever image you want to use in your portfolio. So starting from here, we have 13 images that I added, and these are the ones we'll be using for our portfolio. So coming back to our slider. The slider currently has 3 slides. Of course, you can add more if that's what you want, but since our portfolio has 3 main categories, that's what I'm going to be using for the slider. So we're going to go back to our pages, and I'm going to open my home page. And the page builder shows me 3 hero slider items. Now I can go to each one and edit that slider. I can choose the image, simply going to select a file from my media library. Let's say I'm going to put the photography first, and I'm quite fond of this winter background, so I'm going to set that. And then the smart heading is this one right here where it says intro. I'm going to say photography. And then the heading, I'm simply going to say winter landscape. And depending on the style for this hero slider, you can have the option to add 2 images or to set a button text. But in my case, all I can change here are the images or the image, the small heading, and the actual heading. So I'm going to save the changes, and then I'm going to update this page. And then if I do a refresh, you will see the first slide being replaced by the one that I just added. So let's go ahead and edit the next 2 slides. I'm going to hover over the second slider item. I'm going to hit edit. I'm going to use a different image from my media library. Let's say this one, I want it to be about the background. So I'm going to use this nice galaxy background. I'm going to say backgrounds, and I'm simply going to say galaxy. And then for the third one, I'm going to be using one of these slides from mobile design, maybe this one. I'm going to say mobile design and demo mobile app. Save changes, and then I'm going to update this page and then do a refresh on the front end. And now we'll be able to see our finished slider. Now, of course, maybe these are not the best images to display here, but again, this is a demo, so I just wanted to show you the technical part of how to edit this slider. Now, the slider itself has a few more options. If you're going to click on this little icon here that says Hero Slider Settings, you can choose which style to use, and you can see those styles in the official demo. Yeah, you can choose whether or not to autoplay it. You can choose the speed, the pagination style. So it's quite configurable. In my case, I'm going to be sticking with this one right here because it looks very, very good. Now that the slider is done, let's move on to the rest of the home page. That's coming up in the next lesson. Our portfolio homepage is not ready just yet. We still have 4 sections to deal with. So let's start customizing the section that's right below our main slider. And this is what I'm talking about right here. So we're going to go back to the main page in the back end, of course. And here we can see the 4 columns of content represented by these columns in the front end. So the first thing I'm going to do is get rid of this 4th column because I don't want that. Instead, we're going to focus on 3 columns. So I'm going to delete that image block right there. And then I'm going to hover this custom text here. I'm going to select the number of columns that I want. And in my case, I want 3 columns of equal size. So I'm going to hit that. Let's hit update. Now if we refresh, we're going to see the updated layout. Awesome. Now, going back, I'm going to edit this text block, and instead of bonjour, I'm going to simply say hello. And I'm going to edit this text block, and instead of this text, and I'm going to use this text. Now, I want to link my portfolio to the portfolio page, so I'm simply going to hit this. And I do a search, my work, and it finds the page automatically. I'm going to apply that and then get in touch. I'm going to create a link to the contact page, which is this. All right, perfect. Save changes there as well. And then for this 3rd section, I'm going to edit. And I'm going to paste a quote by Steve Jobs that I really, really like. So I'm going to hit block quote. And the quote says, design is not just what it looks like and feels like, design is how it works. A really nice quote there from Steve Jobs. And let's see. I'm going to edit this manually because I want to add a site. Yeah, let's save changes. Let's update the page. I think I want a little bit more space here. For some reason, it doesn't give me the space that I need. Let me try it in visual mode. Save changes, update, and there we go. All right, and that's how the this about section or the hello section should look like. Now let's move on to the case study, and this will be used for the portfolio mostly. As you can see from the demo here, the case study basically displays a list of portfolio entries and also filtering. So I'm going to go back here to latest works. I'm going to hit this edit button. I can choose the style. I can choose to show the heading if that's what I want. So I'm going to simply say portfolio. And here I can edit the categories that I want to bring portfolio post from. So for now, I'm going to save the changes. I'm going to hit update. And we're going to go ahead and create some portfolio entries. All right. Currently, it grabs all of the categories that I have in the portfolio, but maybe I don't want that. So let's see. Let's open the portfolio here. Yeah, these are all of the projects for the portfolio, but I think I'm going to add some of my own. So add new. We're going to enter the title. And for the title, I'm actually going to start with these, like for example, winter landscape. Yeah, this should be categorized as photography. And I can choose to add or to create a gallery for it if that's what I want. But because this is about photography, I think I'm just gonna set it to a lightbox. So the image will open in a lightbox. And the only image that I'm gonna add is this. And also, I'm gonna set it as a featured image. That's very important. If you don't set it as a featured image, it will not show up in the portfolio. So I'm going to publish that, and then we're going to go back to our page. And right here, for latest works, I'm going to choose the categories that I want photography to start with. And then when we go back here and we scroll down to the portfolio, we're going to see all of the posts from the photography category. If I decide to add another category, let's add a new portfolio item, for example, for mobile design, right? Let's say demo mobile app. I'm going to choose add new category. I'm going to call it mobile design. And let's create a slideshow for this, right? So I'm going to select this. As one slide, I can give it a title if that's what I want. And then I'm going to add another slide, maybe this, and yet another slide, maybe this. Let's actually give these a title. Let's say slide 1. Again, this is just for demo purposes. Slide 2 and slide 3. All right. So this will link to a single portfolio page. And also I'm going to set a featured image. Let's say this, for example. All right, let's publish that. And then we're going to go back to our main page here. We're going to do a quick refresh. And in the latest works, I'm simply going to add another category here, mobile design, and I'm going to save changes. So hit update, and now if I do a refresh, you'll see that the portfolio displays the items from mobile design and photography, and I can filter these like this. And of course, if I click on this image, which I set to open in a lightbox, it's just going to open in a lightbox. If I click this image, it's going to open in a single portfolio page. And right here, you can actually see the slider for that portfolio item. And right here, it's the title that we set previously. So this section is pretty much done. Let's move on to the blog stories. For the blog stories, we have a couple of blog posts that were added as part of the demo content. So let's go back to my main page, scroll down, where it says blog news. Actually, instead of stories here, I'm going to say from the blog, save changes. For the blog news, I'm going to select the categories that I want to display posts from. In my case, let's say, for example, from design. We have a couple more options here, like how to order these or how many posts per page do we want. But I'm going to stick with the defaults. And for the Twitter stream, I'm going to enter my own username here. Hit update. So now we go from this section to this section, which has a different title. It displays blog entries from my chosen category and also displays my own personal Twitter stream. Finally, let's turn our attention to the footer. Now, the footer can be controlled from two different places. It can be controlled on each individual page, and you can select the footer template. You can choose whether or not to display the footer. You can choose a different logo for it. You can choose whether or not to show the social icons, and also to modify the copyright text. So this is locally. This will only work for the home page. If you want to affect the footer globally, then you need to go to Appearance, Theme Options, and then go to Footer and edit pretty much the same options, but the difference is this will be applied to all pages. So the changes that I wanted to make are very small here. Simply want to say copyright 2017, my own name or your own name or whatever it is, and I'm going to save the changes. And then I want to display the social icons, but I don't want as many social icons as we're seeing here. Currently, there are 5 social icons, but I only want 3. I want Twitter, Facebook, and maybe Dribbble or LinkedIn. So to edit those, you would go to Social Sites, and here you can see the 5 social sites that are defined for this particular demo. So what you can do is trash the ones that you don't need. For example, RSS. I don't want RSS, so I'm going to trash that. And I don't want Pinterest, so I'm going to delete that as well. So what you do in order to get the correct link, you just edit these entries, and instead of the hash sign, well, you just put, for example, this is for Twitter, so twitter.com, /Adipordila. And then you can select whatever icon you want for that particular social site, right? So I'm going to hit update, and then I'll do a quick refresh. And apparently I didn't choose an icon. I said I would choose an icon, but I didn't. So let's choose Twitter here, update, and now we go back. And now we have just 3 social sites. And the Twitter link or the Twitter icon links to the correct page that we set in the back end. And as you can see, the copyright text was also changed. And with that, we've actually finished customizing the homepage. Of course, for this particular demo, in your own project, you will probably do way more than this. But again, I wanted to focus on the technical side of this and show you exactly where and how you can customize the various aspects of the Adios theme. So, as I was saying, homepage is now done. Let's move on to the portfolio page. That's coming up. The portfolio page will present all of our projects from all of the various categories that we'll be creating. It's super easy to use, so let's see how we can customize that. So we'll go to our portfolio page from our navigation, and the first thing I want to do is get rid of this intro text. So we'll go to page, we'll find my work, which is our portfolio page, and we'll go to portfolio options right here. We can choose the portfolio style. Currently it's set to masonry, but we can change it to whatever we want. Whether or not to enable the filter, and the filter being this one right here. We can choose to only display posts from select categories. So let's display posts from mobile design and photography, because these are the categories that I added personally. I can also exclude certain categories. And then on the header, I said I wanted to get rid of this intro. Well, that's actually very easy to do. We just go to let's see, title wrapper, and we'll simply delete this subtitle text. Then we'll hit update, and that text is now gone. And that's pretty much it really for this portfolio. I mean, there are not a lot of things that we can do to it. For example, this project opens in its own page, and I've actually shown you this before. Yeah, it creates a nice slide or a slider. And then you also have access to previous projects that you can open right here, or to next projects. So just by choosing the type of layout that we want for our portfolio, all of our work was done basically, because everything was configured in advance by the demo content. Now, of course, you can go in here and you can change all of these options to configure the footer page as you see fit. But for me personally, the way it looks right now is perfect. And just to go over it once again very quickly, here's how you add a portfolio item. You go to Portfolio, Add New, you give it a title, let's say Background. You add the new category if that's what you want, or you can simply use an existing one, like for example, graphic design. And then you add one or more slides. In my case, I'm going to add a single one. Let's call this abstract background. And then you choose where that portfolio project will link to. A single page will open in a dedicated page where it shows details. Lightbox, it opens in a lightbox. External URL just goes to an external URL. Now, if you're going to open this in a single page, you have access to project details. You can add your client name and your designer name. So let's say your client name is Envato, and your designer, this is the designer title. Let's say Adi Purdila, here is my name. I'm going to set a featured image, and I'm going to publish it. So now if I refresh my portfolio page, yeah, let's also show that category, my work. Right, so I want to show the graphic design category as well. So I'm going to hit update, then refresh, and I have the graphic design category. So when I click this, it goes into a dedicated page. It shows me my client, it shows me the designer and the category. And of course, if I had multiple slides, they will create a nice slider right here. And with that, the portfolio page is complete. Now, let's move on to the blog page. That's coming up next. The next page on our to-do list is the blog page. There are a couple of options to customize it, so let's have a look. So we'll go to our blog page right here. And this is currently what it looks like. Now, to start things off, I want to get rid of this title here. That's very easily done. We'll go to Edit Pages, Blog, and if you remember from the previous lesson, all I have to do is blank the title wrapper subtitle field here. So I'm gonna make that blank. We're gonna hit Update, and now that title is gone. Also, I would like to add a sidebar. So to add a sidebar, we're going to scroll down to the options, sidebar, and I'm going to select a layout. One column is the current layout, which doesn't show a sidebar, but I have the option to display it either on the left or on the right. So I'm going to choose columns right, and I'm going to select the default sidebar. So I'm going to hit Update, and I'll do a refresh, and you'll notice now we have a sidebar on the right side. And on the left, of course, we have the list of posts displayed in a masonry format. Now, if you want to edit the sidebar, just in case you're not very familiar with WordPress, you will need to go to Appearance, Widgets, and in here you'll find all the sidebar locations that are defined for this particular theme. Here we have 3 locations: a main sidebar, a footer sidebar 1, and a footer sidebar 2. And the widgets that you see here are actually the ones being displayed on the right side here. So if, for example, I want to get rid of the meta, I would simply delete that, and I'll do a refresh, and now that is gone. Maybe I just want to display the search, right? So I'm going to delete the rest of the widgets. And maybe grab one of the custom widgets made by the authors of Adios, like for example the latest tweets. Those might come in handy. And I can say follow me on Twitter, and I'm gonna put my Twitter username here. Save that, and then refresh. And now we have a brand new sidebar. And that's it for the blog, really. Of course, you would go and add your own posts. I didn't in this case because it's just a demo, but adding new posts is really simple. You just go to Posts, Add New. The theme offers 4 different formats: standard, video, gallery, and audio. So you would enter the title, you would choose the post format, the categories, set a featured image maybe, and you're all set. Now we're almost done customizing our portfolio site. The last thing we need to do is tackle the contact page. So that's coming up in the next lesson. The final page that needs customizing is the contact page. So let's begin by having a look at its current state. I'll go to Get in Touch. And we can see that we have 2 sections, basically. We have a contact form and we have an address. Now, since this is a portfolio and I do not have a physical business address, I'm going to remove this section and I'm going to add my own contact form right here. So let's go back to our pages, Get in Touch. And the first thing I'm going to do is remove this entire row. Let's delete that. Let's hit Update and have a look. There we go. And let's see about creating a new contact form. Now, for most cases, the one that you see here is more than enough. But I just want to go through the process of adding a different form so you can see how it's done. So the theme uses a plugin called Contact Form 7 that handles all of our forms. And currently, if we click on Edit, we're going to see that it uses the Adios form. And we can also give this a search title. Now, if we go to Contact, this is where all of the contact forms reside. So if we click on Adios form, we're going to see a simplified version of the form from the front end. And for each form, you have access to its main structure, to the email address that the form contents will be sent to, and all sorts of meta information like from, subject, additional headers, and the message body. You can edit all of these here, and Contact Form 7 will configure everything automatically. It's really, really fast. You also have access to the messages that will be displayed in various situations. For example, when the sender message was sent successfully, you can display this. Of course, all of these are editable. When the message failed to send, when validation error occurred, and so on. You have access to all of these. You can customize them as you wish. So let's add our own form. Let's go to Add New. let's say tuts plus form. Here we can see a default structure for our form. We have name, email, subject, and message. Maybe I want to add, just for the sake of it, a URL, right? Just here. So I'm going to say URL. This is, let's say it's a required field. Let's say the name is website, no default value, and you can set an additional ID or class attribute. So I'm going to insert that tag, but also I'm going to wrap it in a label, just like we can see right here. So I'm actually going to copy this, paste that in, and I'm going to say website. I'm going to copy this bit and I replace this shortcode with my URL shortcode, and I'm going to hit save. Of course, go through mail, messages, or additional settings to customize this form to your liking. So now I'm going to go back to my Get in Touch page. I'm going to do a quick refresh, and I'm going to edit this section, and I'm going to choose tuts plus form, save changes, update, and now if we go back to the front end, now I don't see any border around those inputs, so we need to add a special class called input field that's defined in the actual theme. So we'll go back to the theme and we're going to add the class right here at the end. We're going to say class input field. So let's go ahead and copy that. We're going to paste it everywhere, and on the website and on the message. Let's go ahead and save that. Right. So now we have good looking inputs on all of these. Now, if you want your form to look like the previous or the default one that you saw, you simply remove the label and use a placeholder instead. But in my case, I think this will be just fine. Also, I do know that the send button has a special class, although I cannot remember it right now. So I'm going to refer back to the original Adios form. And let's see, submit, it has a class of input send and also a class of submit. So let's actually copy these. I'm going to paste those in. And something else that I saw here is the response. And this is an element that will be used to display the response or the form response in case something goes wrong or any kind of notification, basically. So we're gonna save that, refresh, and there it is, sent. You probably can align this to the left. You just have to search the contact form 7 documentation or the theme documentation and see what classes you can use for that. But now if we hit send, it's gonna show up the response here and also these error messages telling us that we did not complete the required field. Now, of course, for your own project, you would need to customize this a bit further, add your own email addresses, customize how the emails are being sent, their structure, also the meta information, all of that stuff. But from a technical point of view, this is how you would add a new form for contact and customize the contact page. Now, with that, our portfolio website is pretty much complete. You saw just how easy that was, right? As long as you're using the right tools, this becomes a very easy task. This was the final lesson of the course. Please join me in the next video for the conclusion. Hey, thank you so much for watching this course. You saw just how easy it was to build a WordPress portfolio if you're using the right tools. In our case, it was the Adios theme, which provided all the templates, all the options, and all the tools for us to be able to create this portfolio as fast as we did. Now, you should take everything you saw as a technical demonstration, really. The images that I used, the text, they were just thrown out there for demonstration purposes. When you're creating your own portfolio, you need to pay more attention to what images you include, how you phrase your copy, and so on. You should spend as much time as it needed to make everything look as good as it can. Now, I also didn't cover how to deploy your portfolio to a live server, so it's available for everyone. That's beyond the scope of this course, but because we're dealing with WordPress here, it's actually quite simple. All you have to do is export your content, your settings from WordPress, from your local WordPress server, basically WordPress installation, and then import, so export from local and then import it on your live server, and basically you are good to go. That's pretty much it for me. Thank you very much for watching this course. I hope you found it useful, and until next time, I'm Adi Pordillo. Take care.